All right, ladies and gentlemen, so we have a huge story coming out to us from Smash JT about apparently Unknown Nine's ex-Reflector Entertainment whistleblower who is exposing everything it's like to work with someone like Kim Belair. Now, obviously, you guys are already aware from everything that we have covered regarding Kim Belair that they're not exactly the most normal-minded person, okay? This is someone who wants Bowser to absolutely rail her. So I don't really expect most people to think this is anything sort of normal, but at the end of the day, it's very different when you have someone who's completely out of this particular sphere of YouTube talking about someone who is in this sphere of YouTube and saying the same exact thing that we are.
For a modern gaming audience.
Now, again, ladies and gentlemen, this particular person seems to be French, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that, because Smash JT had to translate the entire thing or get it translated, and it shows that no matter what, Kim Belair is not exactly the best person to be working for. So let's get into this article, guys, from SmashJT.com. But, of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. Now, again, it says Unknown Nine's ex-Reflector Entertainment whistleblower exposes Kim Belair as mentally disturbed, crazed lunatic. In a bombshell call-out, a former employee of Reflector Entertainment has come forward to shed a cleansing light on all the chaos surrounding Unknown Nine Awakening and the toxic work environment fostered within the company. The whistleblower, who worked in cybersecurity, has provided some seriously shocking details about the mismanagement, unprofessional behavior, and lack of productivity that plagued the studio during his tenure. Most notably, this employee has taken aim squarely at Kim Belair, describing her as completely unstable and unfit for leadership. Now, here's one thing that I will say, all right? Anytime we see games like Unknown Nine Awakening that have a AAA budget, right, and produce results that are in the PS2 era of quality or even low PS3 era of quality, anytime we see that happen in modern day, there's no way that it could be anything other than complete mismanagement. There's no way. There's no fucking way. Or productivity, but productivity comes from mismanagement, right? If you have bad productivity, it's because the management over at that studio didn't hold these people accountable. And it makes you wonder, was it a workplace of just utter, partying nonstop versus actually getting the job done? Because now we live in an environment where all of these developers are trying to say, oh, crunch, crunch. These people think an 8-hour workday is crunch. That's what they think. So you've got to imagine that a lot of these Silicon Valley tech jobs, or these tech jobs in general, are now in such a comfortable environment that most of the employees are not being very productive in the slightest. And it's very clear in the product that we received. Then he says that 8 years of Western development, the whistleblower confirmed in his French, okay, so he's French, auto-translated from Google Translate on his YouTube channel, La Repaire du Gamer, that Unknown Nine was in development for nearly 8 years, but the end result was far from reflective of the time and resources invested into it. Despite many folks trying to deem this a AA title, in reality, he says it should have been labeled as a AAA title. Due to the sheer number of employees involved, which were approximately 120, many of whom were former Ubisoft staff, because game industry incest, the game failed to meet even the most basic expectations. According to the whistleblower, the blame falls in line with what I covered in my previous video discussing the layoffs. Now, again, this company is experiencing massive layoffs right now, and it shouldn't be very shocking. It's all party time until the game actually comes out and it bombs, and then everybody looks at each other and says, okay, who are we blaming? You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things, like, they're going to party and they're going to be best friends, but the moment this game flops, that's it. You got to start pointing fingers to see who is going to be the one to get the axe. If you missed the above video, don't have the time to sum it all up, as the whistleblower goes on to confirm, it falls directly on the lackadaisical work culture, which is what I was saying before, right? These Silicon Valley jobs, these tech jobs, they all have a very lackadaisical work culture where they'll spend 2 hours working and 6 hours, sleeping in their safe space. You ever seen that video that was going viral about Twitter before Twitter was purchased and what the average work day of a Twitter employee was? They literally spent like an hour to 2 hours working and the other 6 hours doing either free lunch, free breakfast, going into the relaxation room, going into the safe space room, the quiet space room where they could just sit there and just I don't know, talk to the fucking wall. It was the weirdest thing. And then it says that their employees were watching YouTube videos, chatting, and drinking beer on Fridays as early as noon. Reflector's leadership, including Alexander Amasio, above co-founder and former Ubisoft executive, is also implicated in this systematic dysfunction. Amasio, described as the mastermind behind the project, allegedly failed to provide any meaningful direction, leaving the studio adrift for years. Salaries range between 100,000 CAD to 150,000 CAD, yet productivity was almost non-existent. It was nowhere to be found. The whistleblower went on to point out that the exorbitant expenses most likely contributed to the extreme financial strain that ultimately led to Bandai Namco's acquisition of the company, but that didn't fix any problems. So again, these guys are clearly overpaid for what they're trying to do, and you'll sit there and be like, well, I deserve this money. Okay, so what work are you doing to deserve this money? What are you actually doing? What are you getting done today, right? Are you just hanging out and partying? Or are you just like, what are we actually doing? Then beyond the lack of productivity, here comes the toxic positivity, I'm sure. The whistleblower described the workplace as rife with toxicity. Microgroups, cliques, and infighting were common, creating a hostile environment that stifled collaboration. Funny how that mind virus infection always seems to make clusters of people to outcast others who aren't like-minded. The whistleblower's own experience ended on a crazy note that could be grounds for a lawsuit, as he stated that after he reported his IT director for downloading illicit content on the company network, rather than addressing the issue, Reflector's leadership retaliated by terminating his employment. Adding to his to the dysfunction, Bandai Namco's takeover of Reflector Entertainment resulted in mass layoffs, as the publisher sought to cut ties with many of the former Ubisoft employees who had contributed to the chaos. But again, too little, too late. You know what's funny? A lot of this stuff that's happening in the gaming industry right now can all be tied back to Ubisoft in some way, shape, or form. Isn't that a little bit weird to you guys? Don't you guys find that a little bit funny that the company, one of the main companies, one of the main arbiters of the DEI nonsense in the gaming industry right now, like you just managed to get ties to them no matter where you look? You could look at any consultancy firm. You could look at literally anything, and you can find a tie to Ubisoft. It's actually pretty damn insane. So then we go into Kim Belair. While some of the mismanagement can be attributed to Masio, the whistleblower did not mince any words when it came to discussing Kim Belair. Although Belair was positioned as a key figure in the game's development, the whistleblower made it clear that she was far from a stabilizing force. He went on describing her as completely unstable, and even alleged that Belair is unfit for any kind of leadership role, let alone one in high-pressure collaborative environment like game development. This same Kim Belair that has been the CEO of the dysfunctional Sweet Baby Inc. for years now. Who would have thought? He went so far as to claim that Belair's erratic behavior suggested she may be undergoing treatment from multiple psychologists. I would not be surprised. An insane situation that he framed as a positive step for her personal health, but a damning indictment of her ability to lead a team or oversee a major project. She doesn't seem well, the whistleblower continued, adding that her lack of stability was beyond evident to any of those that worked alongside her. Now, again, ladies and gentlemen, it's very clear that Kim Belair has issues, right? Kim Belair has been having glaring issues that anybody with a brain can fucking see from a mile away. The only difference is that she is in a very privileged position right now that she is fully taking advantage of, and that is being a black female in a lead gaming role. That is all she's taking advantage of. She knows that the industry right now is going to bow and bend the knee to her for simply her own identity, right? As being a black female. They're going to bend the knee to her no matter what. So she's taking advantage of this and has managed to create a company and a role for herself that is going to let her prosper for years to come. But eventually it's going to come out and it's going to be realized that she's not exactly helpful for any game or project that she's working on. Sweet Baby Inc. is known to be the death, like the reaper, right? They're the reaper of the gaming industry, where they're taking out studio after studio after studio. And people are like, well, I guess it's the studio's fault, and they'll just keep letting SBI just take out studios left and right. But eventually, the finger is going to point towards SBI, and then from there, who really knows? So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.